Hey everybody, Jeppy here, and welcome to another amazing operator lore video, this time going over Team Rainbow's most famous and big hole-making operator, Thermite. As one of Rainbow's original operators, he has his fair share of diverse lore stories over the almost 6 years he has been a member of Team Rainbow. But before we get into his lore story, I want to try some reverse psychology on you guys. So I feel like people are more likely to do something if you tell them not to do it, so I don't want you to leave a like on the video, and for the love of God, I definitely don't want you subscribing if you find yourself enjoying the video. Let's see if that one works for a change. Oh, and one more thing I need to tell you guys. My birthday is on this Thursday, April 15th, and I'm turning 24 years old. I'll be doing a birthday stream here on YouTube on this Friday, the 16th, to celebrate because I work at the hospital, unfortunately, on my birthday. So I won't be able to do the stream on the exact day, just the day after. I really hope to see you guys there. Well, enough of wasting your guys' time. Let's get into the lore of Team Rainbow's signature hard breacher, Thermite. Firstly, we need to start off, as we always do, with where and when Thermite was born. So Thermite's real name is actually Jordan Trace, and he was born on March 14th in the city of Plano, Texas. Looks like we got a Texas boy here. Guess that explains why he likes to blow shit up. Also, do we have anyone here watching the video sharing a birthday with Thermite on March 14th? Let me know in the comments below. Well, unfortunately, none of these super interesting things in Jordan's life happens in his childhood. Pretty much everything cool he did came later in his life, and we just don't really get any information at all about his childhood, which kind of sucks, to be honest, because I always like hearing about the operators when they were younger. The only thing we get is that Jordan was born in the city of Plano, Texas, which has a very large concentration of Chinese Americans that live there. Since Thermite had Chinese cultures literally all around him, he actually grew up with learning enough of the language of Mandarin to hold a conversation with it. And I heard Mandarin is one of the hardest languages in the entire world to learn, along with other hard languages like Arabic, and even English is really hard. Well, that's literally all we get about his childhood. I'm not even kidding. Okay, so the next piece of his lore fires us into the story of how he graduated high school and immediately joins the Marine Corps. This actually made Thermite a 4th generation Marine in the Trace family, so it looks like he really did follow in his family's footsteps. So his lore doesn't say really anything at all about his training in the Marines, but talks about how Thermite served on a couple deployments of tours in Iraq. After his first tour of Iraq, he used the vast amount of knowledge and experience he obtained and volunteered as an explosive ordnance disposal technician. This would be his first taste of boom boom in Thermite's lore. We'll see a lot more of that later on in the video. So Mr. Trace went on to complete a second tour of Iraq, and it looks like he wanted to advance his skills in life and hone in on what he really likes to do. So after he finished his second tour, he enrolled into college back at his home state, attending Texas A&M. Is there anyone here that went to or goes to Texas A&M? And if you did y'all see Thermite there? Well, he did pretty well in school and ended up graduating with a bachelor's of science in chemistry. Knowing an advanced level of chemistry would really go on to help him in life, especially when developing gadgets for himself and fellow operators on Team Rainbow later in his lore. After he graduated, he brought his expertise and huge potential to the FBI, where he would go on to spend 4 whole years there as a field agent for the hazmat unit. Now, here comes my absolute favorite part of Thermite's lore, and one of my favorite stories in all of the lore of Siege, to be honest. So, while Jordan was a member of the FBI, he was sent on an operation all the way to the streets of Bangkok. This is where he met a Miss Afa Tawarung, sorry if I butcher that name, or better known to us as Aruni. Now, this operation took place a number of years ago when Thermite had partnered up with Aruni from the Royal Thai Police Force. They were told they had to track down a weapons racket when intel found a bomb to be discovered there. We don't have the details on how the pair snuck in and retrieved the bomb, but we do get a beautiful cinematic showing the escape they were forced to do. They had no time at all as the bomb timer was started, so they risked their own lives to take the bomb as far away from the city as they possibly can in an attempt to save as many lives as they can. And well, I have something to show you.
Seconds.
Jordan, you need to hurry.
I'm on it. Come on, man. Almost there.
Hold on. We need to get
Well, damn, that was so action-packed and one of my favorite cinematics. I love the interaction and the level of trust they have in each other. Aruni depending on Thermite to defuse the bomb, and Thermite depending on Aruni to get the bomb far away in case he couldn't defuse the bomb in time. And well, fate happened. It was actually bound to happen, but the pickup truck collided with another vehicle while simultaneously detonating the bomb. Thermite, being unrestrained in the back of the pickup truck, was most definitely ejected from the vehicle from the collision, and the bomb was far enough away to where he didn't suffer any major injuries besides third-degree burns to his hands and arms. But Aruni, she didn't get so lucky. The collision trapped her inside the vehicle while the bomb detonated right behind her. It truly is an absolute miracle she's even alive. She survived a high-speed crash on top of a detonation only a few feet behind her. She would spend a long time in the hospital and physical therapy. And with the help of prosthetic limbs, she would not only walk again, but also become a super badass woman capable of doing anything she really sets her mind to. Now, the thing though is that through all these years, even all the way to 2021, Thermite blamed himself for that fateful day. He believed that it was his fault they were unable to defuse the bomb in time, which led to the high-speed race against the clock. He doubted his abilities and believed that he's the one that almost killed one of his best friends. I'm going to talk about this a little more later in the video, so hold on to that thought, guys. Well, after that Bangkok operation that ended in a failure, Thermite wanted to better his abilities and seeked more dynamic environments. So he transferred into the FBI SWAT instead, where he excelled in developing new barricade protocols. That's actually kind of funny on how he was extremely proficient at barricading things, yet his whole gadget and siege revolves around blowing a really big fucking hole into those said barricades. Well, Jordan Tracy's desire to live a more dynamic and ever-evolving life would finally come true in the year 2015. Team Rainbow's program started back up and they were looking for new operators. And of course, they reached out to the FBI SWAT as they are quite literally some of the best in the world. And well, Thermite was one of those people. Of course, he accepted, and they asked him if he'd like to be a part of the team. He would be utilized on creating new ways to enter buildings that would catch the terrorists or criminals off guard, along with helping design and upgrade other operators' gadgets. Now, of course, like every operator that joins Team Rainbow, they need to complete a psychological evaluation to confirm that they are not clinically insane. So in 2015, at the time, Dr. Harry Pandy was the designated psychiatrist for these psychological evaluations, but has more recently been promoted to the 6th of Team Rainbow, a very prestigious position. But when I initially started reading the psychological report and research for this video, something in here caught me off guard when I was reading it. And well, I'm just going to read it to you guys word for word what Harry wrote, and here it goes. For someone so disciplined and orderly, Specialist Jordan Thermite Trace likes to surprise. He can be a practical joker, and he's always ready with a smart aleck comment. Beneath the surface, however, the recent loss of his sister to cancer and the death of his mother a few years prior have made it difficult for him to channel his thoughts and energy with the focus to which he is accustomed to. I am concerned that he uses humor to avoid his grief. It's important he understands that some coping mechanisms can delay the healing process. There are resources that can help him, and I will continue to offer them when and where I may. End quote. So I had absolutely no idea when I was reading this that Thermite had a sister or a mom he was so close to, especially since we didn't get any information like that at all earlier in his lore. It looks like Jordan is currently going through a really rough time in his life, and I honestly feel bad for him. I'm glad Harry is trying to do something about this and help him out, but further in the evaluation, Harry tells us that Thermite has a strong sense of leadership and pretty much no one on Team Rainbow really has a problem with him at all. He has a very close friendship with a number of operators like Habana, Thatcher, and Twitch, well, along with Specialist Aruni, but we'll get back to that in a quick second. Hang on. Harry says how Jordan has excellent communication skills, but only when he really wants to use it. He sometimes gets tunnel vision during operations and focuses in on one thing, so Harry says he needs to work on that a little bit. Harry wraps up the evaluation with saying that behind this smile, Thermite is living a life with extreme stress. Now, I don't think his stress is on the same level as Specialist Jackal, for example. Now, I made a really good Jackal lore video if you want to go check that out to see what I'm really talking about, how Jackal is super stressed. Link for that is in the description. But Thermite does have a huge amount of stress and keeps adding to it by taking on more and more projects. Harry is setting up Thermite with the stress relief mental relaxation exercises and is reaching out to Habana to help guide Thermite through this challenging time. Moving on, I want to quickly go over the time that a alien parasite or virus made landfall in the city of Truth and Consequences, New Mexico. This virus would infect living people and mutate them into highly aggressive creatures of various forms. Team Rainbow was sent to investigate and neutralize the threat. Thermite was requested by Specialist Ash, who was leading the operation. Thermite's initial reaction to the whole city getting infected was to just simply nuke the entire city. Now, Ash warned Thermite that nuking the city was an absolute last resort. So Thermite went on to work designing smaller versions of his exothermic charge to open up key areas throughout the city to retrieve important pieces of evidence. Now, after designing these little miniature brimstone exothermic charges, he stayed back at the base and would be Team Rainbow's direct communication to headquarters during Operation Outbreak. Eventually, every piece of evidence was found and they didn't have to nuke the entire city like Thermite originally wanted. I'm sure Thermite was pretty bummed about not creating a huge explosion. I also want to quickly go over the device evaluation on Thermite's exothermic charge that was actually completed by his good friend Habana herself. Okay, so in the evaluation, which Habana is actually one of Thermite's absolute best friends, she talks about how she's very familiar with Thermite's brimstone exothermic charge and how it operates. He formulated a mix of chemicals to melt any reinforcement in a rectangular cutout pattern, and then with a fuse he rigs up to the exothermic charge, blows it all to hell after weakening the wall segment. It's highly effective and a classic for Team Rainbow. Okay, now to the reunion of Thermite and Aruni, which I have been waiting for. So, not too long ago actually, Aruni was recruited into Team Rainbow by Harry, and to everyone's surprise, it wasn't mentioned until Mira asked Harry who Aruni was when she realized someone named Aruni was on her team. Well, off in the distance, we see Thermite watching. It looks like a ton of emotions are running through his head, as I'm sure flashbacks to the incident were happening as well. Aruni walks up to him and asks how he's doing. Aruni finally tells him that she never felt the incident that happened so many years ago that left her very nearly dead was never his fault. And we can instantly see Thermite's face light up when he heard that. Years and years of guilt has finally ended. They rekindled their lost friendship, embracing each other for who they are. They battled each other in the second Tournament of Champions, where Aruni absolutely kicked Thermite's ass as she promised.
I've got to train hard if I'm going to kick your ass.
Oh, let's not get carried away now.
And gave him that famous wink I love so much. If anyone who has any control over the story or lore of Siege is watching this from Ubisoft, please, for the love of God, make it to where Thermite and Aruni start dating. I swear, the feelings are there. Please make it happen. Well, guys, we're all done with Thermite's lore. I have a ton of other operator lore videos and a huge playlist, so if you liked this one, go ahead and check out the other ones, and maybe I already did an operator lore video on your main operator. Please make sure to subscribe with notifications if you're new. Now, with all that being said, Jiffy out!